Hey, hope all is well. So, alcohol. Yeah, the topic of the day is alcohol. And to be quite honest, it's called a spirit for a reason. And when I realized that alcohol was a spirit, I didn't quite understand it until I started to do a little bit of research because it is completely detrimental to your health and spiritual health as well. But it's so normalized in society. Society, this world tells you that alcohol is great. Go have fun, live your best life, do whatever you need to do, get drunk. The hangovers don't matter. It's not really doing anything to you. You're fine. But those are lies. It's lies. It's all lies and deception. Do not feed into it. Anything that's heavily promoted is not good for you. Whether spiritually good for you, physically good for you, mentally good for you, it's not good for you at all. Complete dependence on God is what we need, not dependence on a substance, because that's what it is. Alcohol is the most commonly abused drug, with 1 in 3 people having drinking problems or addiction, and over 137 million people in the US that drink regularly, like on a daily basis. Many people, as we know, drink to self medicate or deal with the stresses of their life, whether it's daily or weekly. And alcohol in any amount leads to high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, liver disease, digestive problems. It weakens the immune system. It decreases your learning. It increases the memory problems, including dementia down the line as you get older. And some of these side effects that I'm talking about, I've experienced myself, even with having a drink or two years ago. So I can attest to the fact that these side effects are true. And a lot of people who still drink to this day have the same side effects, but they don't think that it's from the alcohol and that this alcohol is really doing something detrimental to their bodies. They just take it and say, oh, it's a hangover. That's the term that they use. Oh, it's a hangover. Not that it's poisoning and it's actually affecting my body in a very negative way. Alcohol tends to interfere with the brain's communication pathways and it affects the way it looks and works. It directly affects the central nervous system. Now, remember that word, the central nervous system, because it becomes a depressant with psychoactive properties. The central nervous system is the body's processing center, meaning it controls everything. It controls your body's awareness, the way it moves, thinking, speech, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, everything. Alcohol inhibits speaking, causing the slurred speech that you often hear when people are drinking, affects your impulse control. It leads to blackouts, causing long term shrinking of your frontal lobe in your brain. And the effect on the brain is somewhat felt quickly because you have memory loss, coordination issues, emotional response issues, extreme shifts in mood. You ever been drinking with somebody and they go from being super just sad to happy all of a sudden, or vice versa? Or you're out with somebody and they start to act careless. Their attitude goes to being belligerent to where they don't care what they do or how they do it or what they say. They don't care that they're disrespecting a police officer. They don't care that they're in a situation that they're in. They get very vocal. That's the alcohol. And they say that's the alcohol speaking. It's the spirit. So it causes this stretching and drooping of the heart muscle, irregular heartbeats, strokes, high blood pressure. It takes a toll on your liver. I know that a lot of people know that alcohol in high amounts leads to liver cirrhosis at some point in your life. As soon as you drink, these effects are starting to take a toll on your body. It also slows your body's ability to fight infection. Constant use often shrinks your brain cells. Your cells start to change. It has an effect on your ability to think, learn, and remember things. Slows down your brain, which leads to slurring of the words and also irritates the stomach lining. The brain helps your body to stay hydrated by producing a hormone that keeps the kidneys from producing too much urine. But when you drink, that alcohol tells the brain to hold off on that hormone. This is what often leaves you dehydrated. So basically, as soon as you take a sip, a drink, you're on your second one, whatever the case may be, your body is already feeling the effects. Your brain is already feeling the effects. And anything that you ingest that directly affects your brain in a negative way is poison. So, toxins from alcohol ultimately leads to inflammation in your organs. It also causes blood vessels in your body and your head to expand, which is what causes those horrendous headaches that you feel the next day. Your stomach wants to get rid of these toxins and acid that the alcohol churns, but because your liver is hard at work processing your drinks, it can't release enough sugar into your blood, which causes you to be weak and have the shakes, basically. And I know some people have experienced that. And lastly, alcohol affects your hormones. It messes with the part of the brain that processes sound, which is why when you're out with people and they get drunk, they often talk super loud. It also limits blood flow to your muscles. Now, I say all that to say this: you can compare alcohol to poison. It is directly linked to being a poison. Neurotoxic chemicals alter the normal activity of the nervous system, the central nervous system. A poison is any substance that is harmful to your body. The effects of poisoning can range from short term illness to brain damage. So, studies clearly indicate that alcohol is a neurotoxin because it affects your neurological cells with direct effects on your blood vessels and other organs in your body. So, it's not enough that the decisions that you make while you drink is even more detrimental to your health, from promiscuity to a careless attitude. But when it comes to the fact that it affects your brain, you really can't get any more clearer than that. And I often wonder why God would call and tell me to stop drinking. Sometimes, really all the time, we are never to question God and what He tells us to do or how He tells us to do it, because He wants what's best for us. It's not enough that this drink directly affects our spiritual health and that it leads us further away from Christ, but it's directly affecting your physical health in that it's messing with your brain. And if you can't think properly, how can you do anything decently in order? I often had issues with my memory when I used to drink, and I wondered why. I would have issues with the way my body responded to certain things or having those shakes. And I often wondered why. When I started to look into what this thing was, I understood. It wasn't just that Christ was telling me to get away from it because it was messing with my spiritual. It was because He was really looking out for me and saying, I want what's best for you. So you need to put it down. And because I did that, my dependence shifted. It shifted from wanting to go to the bar and wanting to go drink and do all of those things because everybody else was doing it, to depending solely on God to heal me from the pain and the trauma and all of the things. Because so often, although it has become normalized in society, people drink for various reasons. And quite honestly, a lot of the reasons is to deal with their life or pain or whatever they're going through in their life, right? So instead of depending on the alcohol, instead of depending on the drug, the substance, we need to depend on God to heal us. We need to lay those burdens at His feet because He's the only healer. He is the only one that can give us true joy, the only one that can renew our minds and renew our hearts. He is the only one that can be our true dependence, that can heal those wounds, that can fill those voids that we're looking for when we're out thinking that we're having a good time when all we're doing is killing ourselves. So, what did I have to do? I had to repent. Repent from doing the things that God was telling me to get away from. Repent for being disobedient to Him and what He was saying. I had to repent for not only causing detriment to my spirit, but causing detriment to my physical, emotional, mental health. I had to get away from it. I had to about face. I had to turn to Christ. That whatever it was that was driving me to this thing, I would give it to Him. And once I gave it to Him, I found my identity. Once I gave it to Him, I found my true sense of self. I found my purpose because I chased after His kingdom instead of chasing after those drinks. Once I gave it to Him, He renewed my mind and renewed my heart and allowed me to see things for what they clearly were. Now I don't have any memory issues. Now I don't have to worry about the hangovers or anything affecting my brain in a negative way because I depend on Him, because He filled those voids. So I hope that this video has helped you in some way to not only allow you to see what alcohol does to you, but to allow you to understand that you don't have to turn to that thing. All you have to do is turn to Christ. All you have to do is repent. All you have to do is know that your dependence should be solely in Him and Him alone. So thank you. Have a blessed day.